The date is Friday, October 1. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, STATIN, says total value added for the Jamaican economy grew by 14.2% during the April to June 2021 quarter. We break down the information from the agency's report released on Thursday.
STATIN says the growth was driven by increased productivity in the services and goods producing industries of 14.8% and 12.7% respectively. The report says this performance should be viewed in the context of the significant fall-off of 18.4% in economic activity during the second quarter of 2020, when the government implemented a number of measures to curtail the spread of the COVID-19. Within the review period, April to June 2021, there was a relaxation of some of the COVID-19 measures, including reduced curfew hours and the easing of travel restrictions, which positively impacted commerce and tourism-related activities. All industries within the service industries increased. Hotels and restaurants by 334.6%. Wholesale and retail trade, repairs, installation of machinery and equipment 19.3%. Transport, storage and communication 13.9%. Real estate, renting and business activities 5.2%. Finance and insurance services 2.8%. Electricity and water supply 4.0%, and producers of government services 0.4%.
There is good news on the horizon for thousands of Jamaicans linked to the tourism sector. Royal Caribbean International, the second largest cruise line in the world, will resume limited operations to Jamaica come November. In a release, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett said that Royal Caribbean senior executives informed him of this development in Miami, Florida this week. Carol Francis has that story.
Executives of Royal Caribbean says once a number of logistical matters, some of which are outside Jamaica's control, are effectively resolved, they will be in a position to significantly boost cruises to the island, bringing in tens of thousands of fully vaccinated cruise visitors. They also reiterated their desire to employ thousands of Jamaicans across a wide range of job functions and are awaiting government's regulatory amendments to make it a reality. The new developments come following meetings led by Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and his team with Chief Executive Officer of Carnival Corporation, Arnold Donald, and other senior company executives in Miami. Carnival Corporation is the largest cruise company in the world. They informed of plans for 110 or more cruises with more than 200,000 fully vaccinated visitors for Jamaica over the next few months. The cruise industry was among the worst affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The industry grounded to a halt for over a year. The industry has slowly resumed operations to multiple destinations, including Jamaica, with the implementation of robust health and safety protocols, including fully vaccinated passengers and crews. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Carol Francis.
We do not administer vaccines that have expired. That's the assurance from Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton. He was confirming reports that 60,000 AstraZeneca vaccines have expired as of midnight, September 30. Dr. Tufton says they were a part of a batch that was donated by the United Kingdom.
And I want to make that clear. The expiration is linked to a particular batch of vaccines, the 300,000 that were donated. If we have just under 60,000, it means that we would have used up just over 240,000. So we would have used up the majority of that vaccine coming from that batch.
Dr. Tufton says the ministry received the vaccines in July with the knowledge that they had a 2-month window for usage.
Normally, these vaccines would have a 6-month period shelf life, but we got it 4 months into its usable shelf life. And so we had 2 months. Now, clearly, our intention was to get take-up of all 300,000 doses. The efforts were there. The outlets have been established. The take-up only partially so. We have gotten up to 240,000. Our policy is that we do not administer vaccines that have expired, in keeping with the high standards that we have established for our immunization program.
The health minister was speaking at a virtual COVID-19 press brief on Thursday. As of Thursday, 83,737 COVID-19 cases have been confirmed since the start of the pandemic. Chief Medical Officer in the Health Ministry, Dr. Jacqueline Mackenzie, says children account for about 11% of that number. She gave a breakdown of COVID-19 data in relation to younger section of the nation's population during the ministry's weekly COVID-19 virtual press brief.
Chief Medical Officer in the Health Ministry, Dr. Jacqueline Mackenzie, says the number of children who have been infected by COVID-19 is considerably lower than the numbers reported for the older population. She revealed that overall, children accounts for 0.6% of deaths related to COVID-19. She also notes that 644 cases have occurred in children ages 1 and younger.
And this represents 7% of the total number of children that were affected. In the toddler age group, the 1 to 2 age group, we had 983 children that were affected. This represents 10.7% of all children, which is 0 to 17. Preschooler, 1,191 cases. That's 13% of the children. And school age, 6 to 12, 35.2% of cases fall in that age group, 3,238 cases, and in the adolescent age group, 34.1% of cases, 3,136 adolescents.
Dr. Mackenzie says the largest part of this group being infected with COVID-19 is between the ages of 6 to 7.
We would have had one death in less than 1 year olds. We would have had one death in the 1 to 2 year olds. We would have had one death in the 3 to 5 years olds, and we would have had 2 deaths 6 to 12 years and 6 deaths in the 13 to 17 years.
She said except for 2 of those deaths, all those children had comorbidities that made them more prone to severe illness. And in terms of hospitalization for children with COVID-19,
total hospitalizations that we've had in the categories of moderately severe and critically ill would have been 2,986. This is for all age groups. For children, we would have had 79 children, which represents 2.6% of this total that were hospitalized as either moderately severe or critically ill.
It should be noted that Minister of Education, Youth and Information, Fayval Williams, says more than 70,000 students have been vaccinated against COVID-19 to date, with some 22,000 having received both doses.
Meanwhile, it's being reported that the number of hospitalizations due to COVID-19 is decreasing. Here's an update from Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Jacqueline Mackenzie.
Right now, you can see that we're approaching getting below the 700 line, which is the number of beds that we would have reserved for COVID cases. And as the number of cases go down, what it means is that it frees up the hospital to be able to manage other cases. Many other cases are waiting, persons waiting for surgeries, etc. It's very important to keep this trend going down so that we can resume some of the normal activities within the hospital.
While the number of hospitalizations is trending down, preparation is still being made to manage another surge of the COVID-19 virus. Less than 2 weeks after breaking ground at the University Hospital of the West Indies for a field hospital, construction is complete. According to a news release from the UHWI, the project, aimed at assisting with the current COVID-19 wave of admissions, is in the vicinity of the Emergency Medicine and Casualty Division. It aims at providing beds for 48 confirmed and suspected COVID-19 patients. Citizens of Riverhead and surrounding communities in Western St. Thomas are calling for help. Their complaint is for proper access bridge and roads to improve their way of life.
The concern that we have is the bridge from Riverhead. It ought to pop at any time now, just as the one in Ramble. And there's no road to go to Motown or Gochi. No road. The people that plant them little food up here, them can't get out and produce. Them have them children who go to school, them can't buy the internet for them because them can't get out and produce.
We have some problem we don't know where we're going, but it's like water thing get low down. And so we need good road and we need water and things like that. And the bridge out there 100 mile, we need it to fix. So we are going on a 2-week notice. So we try so we can do the best as we can. Check it out quick.
We have to do this, we lock off the water, because we need assistance. No, it is very outrageous for our community, where millions of dollars are making from. So we are appealing to the bigger authorities to assist us now, not tomorrow or another day. We need somebody to come in and speak to us. Better road system, better internet for a child, to children them, for they are the man and woman for tomorrow.
An appeal was made to Member of Parliament James Robertson.
If the MP no come to fix the road or the bridge, well, no matter who it is, we want to have the bridge fixed and the road clear in Motal, Riverhead. Yeah. From those places clear, the road is good again, the people can get out and produce. That's all we want the government to do. We don't wait till election, the run come. Don't wait till election. Yeah, do it now. Now is the time.
In today's business report, aside from the standard market updates, host Gabriel Thompson looks at the Student Loan Bureau's deadline extension for their Jumpstart Scholarship Program.
Students now have until Monday, October 11 to apply for the Students Loan Bureau SLB Jumpstart Scholarship. SLB Executive Director Nikisha Walsh told JIS News the entity has extended the deadline from the previous date of September 30 to accommodate students who will be receiving their Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC results in October. SLB Jumpstart is a free scholarship through which students can access $300,000 to assist with their tuition and other school-related expenses. It is not a student loan and therefore does not require repayment. The scholarship is designed to assist financially challenged students leaving secondary school who have been accepted into a tertiary institution. The one-time award is only given in the first year of studies. It will be awarded to 10 students who meet the criteria. To qualify, applicants must be between the ages of 17 and 21, must have completed secondary level education, and are about to enter an approved tertiary institution. Interested persons can access the application form and additional information on the scholarship by visiting the SLB website at slbja.com. In foreign exchange trading for Thursday, September 30, the US dollar sold for an average $147.24. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.66. The pound sterling traded for $202.92, and the euro sold for an average $174.97. In Thursday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 4,085 points to close at over 417,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 95 stocks, of which 56 advanced, 27 declined, and 12 traded firm. The Junior Market Index advanced by 38 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and CAC 2000 Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, CAC 2000 9.5% preference shares, and Epley 7.5% preference shares. Pulse Investments Limited was the volume leader with over 7 million units, followed by Jamaican Teas Limited with over 3.8 million units, and Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 1.6 million units. In market data for oil, prices dropped on Friday on the prospect that the OPEC Plus supplier alliance might step up a planned increase in output to ease the supply concerns, with soaring gas prices spurring power producers to switch from gas to oil. Brent crude futures fell 7 cents to $78.24 a barrel, but was still heading for a small rise on the week, marking a fourth straight week of gains. West Texas Intermediate crude futures slipped 5 cents to $74.98 a barrel, though the contract remained on track to post its sixth consecutive week of gains. And on that note, we close this Friday edition of the Business Report inside the news on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Pleasant viewing.
In news from across the region, in Trinidad and Tobago, 46 students graduated from the Caribbean Industrial Research Institute's first Democratizing Innovation in the Americas Youth Innovation Lab on Thursday. Minister of Youth Development and National Service, Foster Cummings, said the program is in keeping with the government's goal for youth development. Kimberly D'Souza tells us more.
The 46 participants who graduated from the Democratizing Innovation in the Americas, or DIA Lab, learned about entrepreneurship and ways to develop innovative ideas to serve their community. One of the graduates from Cohort 1, Joshua Jackson, said the lab provided him with a holistic understanding of what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
I came to realize that I had all these ambitious and beautiful goals and dreams, but I didn't have the basic foundations needed to achieve them. Through the innovation and entrepreneurship sessions, I gained a holistic understanding of what it truly takes to be an entrepreneur. Within the life skills coaching sessions, I learned the power and pertinence of goal setting. Within the business model canvas coaching sessions, I acquired the basis upon which I can build my business and have it set for success. The financial literacy coaching sessions reminded me that the key is not how much you make, but how you first manage what you make.
Students also participated in a series of hackathons and gained skills in data science and artificial intelligence. Chief Executive Officer of the Trust for the Americas, Linda Edelman, said the skills the graduates attained will allow them to create meaningful projects.
But most importantly, the skills that you've gained are going to allow you to give back to your communities and help you make a difference in the lives of the people living in those communities.
Minister of Youth Development and National Service, Foster Cummings, supported the initiative, adding the advancement of young people will always be a critical priority for the government.
We remain committed to creating opportunities for youth to reach their fullest potential and solidify their role as the future leaders of tomorrow. Today, I pledge my continued commitment and that of the ministry towards initiatives like these, which supports this government youth development agenda.
The DIA program, which was launched 6 years ago, was done in collaboration with the City Foundation. Kimberly D'Souza, TTT News.
Public schools in Antigua and Barbuda will continue to use remote learning approaches as discussions continue to take place regarding when face-to-face learning will resume for students at the secondary level. More in this report.
The Cabinet's latest determination followed consultations with the Director of Education and Chief Medical Officer on Wednesday.
We have, however, allowed the Ministry of Education to make its own determination as it sees fit insofar as the secondary schools are concerned, which makes an assessment that the secondary schools, especially those in the private sector, who have met the requirements with the students and the teachers and the ancillary staff, are able to go to face-to-face because they have been fully vaccinated or at least partially vaccinated.
However, the Ministry of Education will allow private secondary schools to open face-to-face learning if all requirements are met.
If there are private schools, private secondary schools who are in a position to meet the requirement, that they will give them the signal to go ahead.
Cabinet also took the decision to close all primary and preschools immediately due to the risk of exposure to the younger population who are unable to take the COVID-19 vaccines.
Up until now, there has been no approved vaccines for application to children below the age of 12. And so accordingly, we had to take a look at the risk involved of having face-to-face learning resumed in the schools at the primary level where the majority of the students would be below the age of 12.
The Ministry of Health reported that 100 minors have so far been affected by the virus. Reporting for ABS News, I am Shanikisha Francis.
In St. Kitts and Nevis, the observation of COVID-19 safety protocols is becoming a sore point, as residents have made complaints to the media that government ministers and officials are urging people to follow protocols, but ministers themselves are seen engaging activities given little or no regard to social distancing or mask wearing. Glenn Bart tells us more.
Complaints were made to SK Newsline regarding CPL, in which they say several ministers really wore masks once inside. In more recent complaints, individuals have pointed to a creative photo shoot and video of Minister of Health Akila Byron Nisbet, in which they say COVID-19 protocols were not observed. SK Newsline contacted the minister, who said the protocols were followed.
The elements that persons would have seen would have been what would have been done for the in front of camera in order for us to take the footage that we needed to take. Outside of that, all protocols were followed. We made sure we kept our distance from each other, and we did everything else that's necessary with masks and everything to maintain that protocol that we know is necessary. The shoot was done on the 5th of September. Today we're at the 29th of September, and the 30th of September, and I can tell you that there's nobody from that shoot who have been tested positive for COVID-19. As a matter of fact, we tried to make sure that the persons that we use were vaccinated. We tried to make sure everything was according to the protocols and that we did what was necessary to safeguard both the persons part of the shoot and everybody who worked with the shoot.
The complaints about ministers of government on St. Kitts and Nevis not following the COVID-19 safety protocols prompted SK Newsline to ask Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris in a recent press conference to address the matter.
In relation to the observing and adherence to the COVID-19 protocols, there's only one message and one rule for all of us, that we must all try hard or endeavor best to at all times comply with the COVID-19 protocol. Of course, the Cabinet of Ministers, we try hard to lead by example in that regard. And wherever any of us is seen not to be faithful in observing these, it will be good that someone give us or any of us a gentle reminder. So we have no different message for the Cabinet as we would have for the children in the kindergarten, or we'll have for those in the secondary school, or we have for the general community. One rule is being observed. And in every area in this fight, we are sending a message for all, a consistent message. So if we say that when persons return, they are to be in quarantine, every minister of the government would comply with that.
Recently, an incident involving a Jamaican minister of government not following COVID-19 protocols at a party resulted in his apology and in his resignation. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
In sports, we begin on the courts with netball. Come this November and December, Jamaica's Sunshine Girls will travel to England to face the UK's Vitality Roses in a 3-match netball Vitality Roses Reunited series. The girls are slated to play England in Game 1 on Sunday, November 28 at the Copper Box Arena in London. Games 2 and 3 will be played at the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham on Saturday and Sunday, December 4 and 5, 2021. The previously scheduled Vitality Roses Reunited series was postponed in January 2021 owing to the COVID-19 pandemic. Over to football. Living Brazilian football legend Pele was released from a month-long hospital stay on Thursday. This development after he had surgery for a colon tumor. According to his medical team, he will continue undergoing chemotherapy. Pele, who is 80 years old, had been receiving treatment at Albert Einstein Hospital in Sao Paulo since August 31 after a suspected tumor was detected during routine tests. Pele, who underwent surgery on September 4, is said to be in stable condition. And that's our package. On behalf of our entire production team, we say thanks, as always, for making it PBCJ, the People's Station.